and welcome to the Coach Dave Academy YouTube channel. My name is Bart Horsten, and today I'll be giving you a lap guide of the Mount Panorama circuit in the iRacing iR-04. Let's get into it. Okay, so here we are going through the last corner at Mount Panorama Circuit or Bathurst. It's important to, like on any track, to open up your corner for a quali lap. On this, I'm just doing a race run, so carrying a bit of speed in here, but you can just pull to the right a bit more and still in third gear, but just open up the corner a bit more and focus on your exit. So quite a short start-finish straight here up to the first corner. Braking between the 100 and the 50 meter board, and the idea is really to we want a really good exit because there's a massive straight out of turn one, so it's really important to focus on the exit. And with this car, the way you want to pick up the throttle is quite direct, so when we get to that throttle pedal, we do want to try and really race to get to 100% throttle. Yeah, so here it's kind of a medium brake, let's say, just before the 50 meter board. And you want to take, ideally, a bit of inside curve as well. So we've got the left tires here. It should be meeting the inside curve. Down to fourth gear. Like I said, not really slowing the car down too much. The main thing is that exit. So we're attacking the throttle pedal. You can see I'm already on the throttle, even though we can't really see the exit from here. But already picking up the throttle pedal. And full throttle by here. Even though it looks like we're going to understeer off with this car, go full throttle, and you can turn through the understeer a bit. And it's important, even when you use all that exit curb and it's bumping around, that you keep the throttle pinned, because it will keep accelerating. It won't stall the car. So make sure you keep it 100% throttle. Now here, I stay on the right side of the straight. You'll see it when we come back down the hill as well, but there's a bit of a crest in the road here. And so with the Formula car, I find it bottoms out a little bit. So the floor is touching, and that can slow down the car a little bit. So just staying on the right side for now. And then slowly, as we reach here, coming over to the left-hand side of the track to set up for turn 2. So quite a late brake in this car. A bit heavier than turn 1. You can see there it's about 80% of my max brake pressure. and braking after the 50-meter board. But really important here to be looking up the hill, not super tight into, where you can see the curb starts here. You really want to be try and look around the corner a bit, because it's a long camber corner and we want to meet the white line here, not down here. So don't get sucked into turning in too early or going too slow on the entry, because it's a long camber corner. The camber and the grip will kind of catch you if you attack the entry and you carry a lot of speed in. You will find the front wheel grip up. So it's important to kind of over push the entry a little bit. So quite late, super late on the brakes, uphill braking zone as well, and still carrying a lot of speed through the corner. And like I said, super key in this car, as soon as we're off the brake, no coasting phase, and quickly onto the throttle and almost straight away to full throttle as soon as we can. So it's important to be really aggressive on that. We got full throttle and just resting. You want ideally to be pushed out, forced out to the exit curb here, and you want it so your left tires just run up against this curb. Unlike in a GT, you can't run all the way up to the wall because the car will bottom out. So here, not super important to get over to the right-hand side early, because this next corner isn't really a corner for us in this car. But still making sure you get over to the right-hand side, the white line, before you turn in for this left, just so you can open up the next left-hander of the cutting. So here, super difficult corner this. The key for me is you want to be as far right as possible without falling out of the grip or the camber of the track. So you can see over the white line, certainly the track dips away, and I would say even before that, it starts dipping away a little bit, and there's less rubber as well on that part of the track. So I find generally I'm kind of, you don't want to hit the inside wall here in terms of, you're not really aiming for it as an apex. And you don't want to be all the way to the right either, because you're giving yourself too much work and you're on a dirty part of the track. So I generally go mid-track here, and that allows us to be, you can see about half a car width away from the white line. So it's a super tricky corner. The main thing is that we're straight, in terms of we're straight towards where our turning point is, which is up here. So I know it's a bit tricky to work out kind of where you want to position the car, but that's where you're kind of aiming for, is, okay, I want it straight towards where I'm going to be turning in for the corner, my widest point. If you're a car width, like a tire width or more further to the right, you're going to run into the wall braking, or you're going to have to kind of the brake pedal and probably run deep into the corner. So that's why we're positioning like this. So then quick on the brakes, and like you said, straight to that point of when we're on the white line, and then we're really going to quickly bleed out of the brakes, carry a lot of speed up this hill. Again, it's an uphill corner. You can carry more speed into it than you think. Even though it looks like a hairpin, it's actually quite a deceptively fast corner. And the exit out of here is super, super important in this car, because we're flat out for most of the mountain section after this. Yeah, so I find you want to roll a lot of speed in. Don't get sucked into pushing the braking super deep here. It won't gain you much time. The main thing is rolling a lot of speed in the middle of the corner, getting right up to the inside wall, using all the camber, and just planting the throttle pedal. Full throttle now, and that should push you out to the right-hand side of the track. So super tricky corner, the cutting, taking that in third gear as well, so down 2 on the entry. So here I find short shift fourth as you come over the brow, because you'll get the car will buzz off the limiter if you don't shift up. So I find you gain a little bit of time if you short shift to fourth here. You can see it's quite a big jump in this car. In a GT or something, it's not too bad, and ideally you can even be a bit further left than me, but you don't want to go too far left that you're just taking extra distance. So it's a bit of a balance between hitting the bump and taking extra track. So just change it up to fourth on the crest, and then just being smooth with the wheel for this whole section. It's all flat out, or should all be flat out. So it's important just to be smooth with the wheel, getting to the white line here. Again, don't go any further, because that's a dirty part of the track and the track starts to fall away from you a bit there. Just running up to the curb, we don't need to take it, it'll unsell the car. So just running, so you can see my right tire is right next to the inside curb. Pretty smooth over the top here. Again, aiming for I generally, in most cars, aim for this grate. Again, with the F4, you don't really need to run the car all the way up against the wall. So it's important just to run up to the white line, I would say. So you don't need to go out into the kind of the bumpy, dirty bits of the track. But it is nice to just be smooth with the steering and not scrub the tires a huge amount. So you can see here, running up to the white line, just make it one smooth, continuous turn. Again, up to the white line on the inside curb, and then just running out to the white line on the exit as well. Here, I find change up to 6th a little bit earlier than you think. Again, you're kind of short shifting because you go downhill over the crest. Not much, but just a little bit. So just keep that in mind. Changing now to 6th gear. And this is a corner where you want to turn in before you reach the crest. And it will take some practice if you're not familiar with the track. But if you don't turn in, if you turn in too late, if you turn in about here, the front will be in the air when you start turning. And you'll have no grip, and all of a sudden you'll land and the car will bite and you'll have a moment. So it's important just to be smooth here and quite early with the steering. So smooth, gradual through there. Again, just being trying to carry as much speed as possible, all flat out. And then resting up on the exit curve on this part of the course. No problems there. This is where it gets really tricky. So once we go all the way to the right hand side of the track there, it's super important to use this compartment of the track that we've got coming up on the left here. This bit here, where you can see the wall goes away from the white line. We need to be using that as much as possible because it really opens up the next section down the hill. So quickly getting back, repositioning to the left hand side of the track, and then turning aggressively right. And the aim is to be straight now. Straight and up to the right hand side wall. You can see here where there's this Coates Hire advertisement on the right hand side. So you want to be your right wheel's as close as possible to that wall and pointing in a straight line, but in terms of where we're pointing to the right of where we are at the moment. So it helps you a huge amount if you use this part of the track on the left hand side. So make sure we're doing that. Make sure we're getting left early, going up to the wall on the left hand side, getting it straight. And in this car, it's actually you can keep it pinned over the top. Probably build up at first. I would start probably lifting out here, and then the main thing is braking when we land. Don't brake in the air. It's not really going to do anything. So braking as soon as you land, and the car will sit, and you'll get quite a lot of braking performance. So yeah. So ideally, if you're up to speed, you can take it flat out, and then just as you land, that's my cue to start braking and change down into 5th and 4th gear. I find 4th gear is best for this left-hander coming up. The car's quite on the edge this whole section, so you can see it's quite a quick brake, high pressure, and then we're bleeding out quite quickly because if you hold the brake pressure, you will just lock up and keep going on. So you need to just quickly brake while you can, while I've got it straight, and then start bleeding out the brake again, still holding brake pressure, as we go down the hill, but just coming out of the brake enough so we can get it left. We really want to be on this left-hand side curb. It's really grippy. It really helps turn the car, and it opens up the next right-hander as well. So into 4th gear, you can see I never come off the brake pedal. I just let out a little bit, but we're still stopping the car, but we're just letting it turn and carrying a bit of speed. And then now that I've got it on this left-hand side curb and a bit straighter, I pick up a bit more brake pressure again. And we're going straight towards where we want to be going. And then again, now that I'm turning into the corner, I'm coming out of the brake, releasing the load on the front tires, allowing the car to turn in. So very tricky section here. I find, like I said, for here, you want to be in 4th gear, which will help the car turn for the left. I make the down change for 3rd now, so I can get the car into this right-hander. This right-hander, you want to carry a bit of speed into it. It's a tricky corner because you want to be in a position here, so you've got your right-hand tires right next to this beer ad on the right-hand side, so you can open up this next left-hander. But you also want to carry as much speed as possible until that point. So, it shouldn't be easy to keep the car on the right-hand side. The last thing you want to be doing is just turning and kind of waiting. So that's where it's that difficulty in trying to modulate the brake pedal and, coming out of the brakes a little bit the whole way down the hill. And you can see here, I'm actually picking up the throttle a little bit here to keep the speed going before we get to this next left-hander. So now that we're in the bottom of this section, It's just a short brake, mainly to help the car turn in and get the weight on the nose. Still in third gear. And the main thing here is we've got this super steep descent, but all the camber is right up to the wall. So once again, making sure we use all the track. And it's going to feel a bit bumpy and a bit steep in this car. The car will take it fine and won't get damage. So you can do it, but you just have to be aware it will unsettle the car a bit. And this compression, you'll feel you'll be able to pick up the throttle very quickly once you reach it, but you're going to make sure that you don't pick up the throttle before you reach the bottom of the corner and your rear tires grip up. If you pick up the throttle early here, you're going to get wheel spin and the car's going to get unsettled and you're probably going to go into the wall. So important just to wait till we get to the bottom and then accelerate as the car grips up, a bit like the corkscrew at Laguna Seca. Okay, so this bit is kind of, you'll be forced out here if you're going really quick through this section. So just making sure you let the car out, use all the track. You can run right up to the wall there, and the same on the left-hand side as well. So we're up into fifth gear, and this bit is also, even though it doesn't seem like much and it's all flat, it's important to be in the right position here. So we want the car to be hugging the left-hand side wall right now. And the reason why we want to do this is to open up this next left-hander. So now into this bit of camber on the right, again, getting in early. If you turn in late, you'll never make it. So make sure you're turning in quite early here, getting to the right-hand side. And my reference is, it's pretty hard to see here because it's all completely blind, as you can see when we go into the braking, into Forest Elbow. So this grate on the right-hand side is pretty much your only reference. So I use this. So once I'm around the corner, I can see the grates right in front of me. I start going for the brake pedal, and it's important here, I find, especially in this car, not to hit the brake pedal super hard. You're going to be going down the hill and going to be, I've got to slow down. You've got to make sure you don't hit the brake. You don't hit the brake pedal very hard because it's super easy to lock the front tires in this car. And if you do that, you won't be able to turn in for the corner, and it'll hurt your exit down the straight or send you into the wall. So important here. In fifth gear, braking not super hard, just kind of, you can see it's like a soft to medium brake. And I kind of, once you've got the car straight and you've gone over the rise, you can hit a bit more brake pressure, but it's just controlling that, being careful, it's difficult. You just got to feel for the grip and feel kind of, how much can I go before the tires starts to lock up, and just sitting underneath that so the car will turn in for this corner. It will be less than you think, though. You just got to be super cautious on the brakes. And then coming out of the brake quite early and turning in quite early, which is why, it feels like maybe we slow down too early here, but this is super important for the exit. So we get this done all very early. So braking's done, bleeding out and turning in. You want to get right up to the inside wall here. It does come out, so you don't want to be at the wall, tucked up right against the wall now, because what will happen is you will crash into the inside wall when it comes back out here. So that's why it's important to just be, you can see I'm like a tire width away from the inside back here, but I'm kind of rolling towards it. So I'm right next to it when it juts out at this point, and that's the apex that you're aiming for. And then when you can see when you get on the throttle, quickly get to throttle. Massive straight after this, and the car is going to be way more stable if you just attack the throttle pedal and drive it out. Okay, so as soon as we come out of this corner, and you can see your exit, you want to get to the left-hand side of the track. Similar to the straight up the hill, but probably more important here, there's a bit of a crest on the straight coming up after this. There's a few rises and the straight crest in the middle. So it is faster to stay on the left-hand side of the track, so you don't have to reposition before the chase. So staying left, you'll find it's a bit flatter, and you'll have less bottoming out from the floor and less bumps in general. So into the chase, not really much of a corner in this car. Just important to use all the track on the entry and be smooth with the steering. Meeting the inside white line here, and now we get into the difficult part of the corner. So braking reference for me, again, it's quite tricky because there's not a board super close to where we're going to be braking, but it's right in the middle between the 50 and the 100 board, probably about 80, 75 meters, something like that. For me, I'm looking towards, it's quite hard, but you got to look towards the apex here. And it's not this bit, a bit like when we're coming up the hill for turn 2, we're not actually looking for here. We're meeting the apex about here. So you got to look quite far around the corner. It's quite tricky. Super hard press of the brake. Just attack the brakes straight away. You can see almost 100% brake pressure. And down to 4th gear, again, quick on the gear changes so we can decelerate quickly. You can be really aggressive because it's uphill. So the car will stop a bit quicker than you think. So super aggressive on the braking, get the car stopped quickly. We don't want to hit this inside curve. Ideally, you can get away with nibbling it, but you don't really want to hit it because it'll push you wide. So as soon as you can see this, pretty much just before you've reached the true apex of the corner, throttle. Get onto the throttle really quickly and push the car out so you don't hit that curb. And you can run a wheel on the grass here, and I find the car's fine. So as long as you're smooth with your steering, you can be really aggressive on the exit here. And again, it's worth a lot of time to pick up the throttle early. So really attacking it and getting to 100% throttle quickly. Just let the car out here. Don't fight it too much on the left-hand side of the track. If you drop a wheel, it's very easy to spin. So just being smooth with the steering. And if you do find yourself on the grass, just keep it straight over the curb. And then back over to the right-hand side of the track for braking for the last corner. Super tricky corner, this. Now, I find, again, you haven't really got much of a reference. You got this 50 board on the right, and you want to brake a bit before that. But I find it's a corner where you want to run a little bit deep into because, again, in this car, we can't take the inside curb. So it's very easy to hit it if you don't go in fast enough on the brakes. So I think it's really important here to push your braking. You won't stop as quick as some of the other corners on this track because it is downhill. But really, really important to push your braking on the entry here. Down to 3rd gear, and you can see I just clipped the inside curb, but picking up the throttle very aggressively again, pushing the car out, making it so I'm not forced to hit the inside curb a lot and bounce wide. And that'll put you out here onto the exit. And that is a lap of Mount Panorama Circuit. Okay, guys, that about wraps it up for us today. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in getting any setups, check out CoachDaveAcademy.com. I'll see you in the next lap guide video. Goodbye.